Where are we? Here we go. All right, what's going on, everyone? Today's going to be a pretty casual stream. We're going to talk about anime for next year. I'm going to read some manga. Kind of an unplanned stream, but you know how it goes. I always find a way to rant about something. Right now is a weird time because a lot of anime are ending that haven't already ended. One Punch Man drama is kind of either over or irrelevant at this point. I kind of stopped following it. My Hero's almost over, right? If it didn't already end. The final episode is... Oh, today? I keep thinking today's Friday. So it's Saturday. So Saturday is the last episode. We got Naidaru writes, yo bro, how's your day going? My day's going great. Today was kind of a break in between working on videos. Briefly. Not the morning so much, but a little bit. After the stream, I'm meeting friends, so it'll be kind of a relaxation day. But yeah. Spy Family. My Hero ends on Saturday. One Punch Man, I don't know what's going on with One Punch Man. At this point, I just don't think anybody cares about One Punch Man. Like, season 2 was a shocker. Season 3 was also a shocker, but people who like had realistic expectations weren't that surprised by it. One Punch Man is going to be interesting when and if they do a follow-up, so like another season, because my god, man, like, we got to learn our lesson at this point. They're not going to change it. Besides that, am I crazy? What's up with the One Piece anime, now that I think about it? Maybe the Blu-ray version will be good. How much cope is that? I mean, it's not cope, it is a possibility, but like the whole season just it's just not good. Like, it is what it is. It's fine. People will say there's like decent episodes, but I mean, it's all relative. As like, for like purely just aesthetic animation reasons, the new season is unwatchable. But, you know, if you just want the story, it's fine. Like, if you just care about One Punch Man and like you don't care about the animation so much, then it's fine. What about the One Piece anime? Isn't it on break, but it's coming back? Or am I totally crazy? No, One Piece is running. It came back in October. Okay. Oh, no, so it's running. Oh, that's right. One Piece is seasonal now. So, how's that working? One Piece anime is moving to do 1 to 2 cores a year starting next year, somewhere in that range. It wasn't specific, but basically going to be treated more seasonal. I'm like genuinely excited to see what that looks like. I hope that this means that they will continue, if not slightly improve, the level of quality for the episodes. Let's go OG. I see Gotchi got leaked. It's getting greenlit for his second season. I mean, it was very popular. There was a ton of hype for it in the beginning. It had kind of a rough start, but after, like, I don't know, episode 4 or 5, it rose up fast to becoming like one of the most watched anime, at least in the West. I don't know about like Japan and other countries. And I'm strictly going by Crunchyroll, by the way. That's not including Netflix, so it's like a top watched anime, not the most watched probably. I think the reason for this was to improve the quality of the episodes. So it was probably a deliberate decision by Toei for that reason. But also, we talked about this when they made that announcement. I talked about it on stream. But One Piece, like that decision to make that shift for the One Piece anime, it's truly the end of an era, because One Piece was the last true weekly anime. Like, it was the one last show, really, where there was an episode every week, all year, minus, you know, unplanned breaks. JJK will be the most hype next year. I mean, we got Frieren too. Frieren and JJK at the same time is going to be crazy. The fandoms are going to be obnoxious. We ain't getting rocks till 2027. We're not getting rocks till like 2028, probably. Can't wait for Chainsaw Man season 2. I don't care if it takes 5 years. If Mappa can make it at least 80% of the quality of the Reze movie, it's going to be generational. I think the difference is now, like, they've proven that people actually like Chainsaw Man. So however it happens, they'll have more funding and more logistics and more resources. But yeah, the crazy thing about One Piece is, like, that's it. There's no more weekly anime besides maybe, I don't know, like comedy series that we don't really watch. Why is no one talking about the new Gintama movie? What's the new Gintama movie? That's the first I'm hearing of it. Is it just... a new Gintama movie, Yoshiwara in Flames. This was announced 4 months ago. Yeah, I vaguely remember this. Yep, okay. I remember this arc. Yep. Done by BN Pictures. Interesting. I mean, I think it'll be popular in Japan, but Gintama is one of those series that, like, now that it's not running anymore, and now that it's been over for a while, I don't think there's going to be, like, as huge of a turnout as we've seen in the past. But I could be wrong. I have no idea. I'll be watching it. If this new shift also means the pacing gets better, then it should be 2027 with rocks. I don't know. I would certainly hope so, because that was one of the drawbacks of the weekly format. You got consistent content, but they didn't have those time gaps to kind of put a gap between the show and the manga. So hopefully that changes. Justin says they'll probably keep One Piece weekly, but they'll readapt previous arcs with better pacing. So maybe they'll do more of like the Fishman Island thing. Honestly, I kind of hope they don't do that. Because, I mean, at this point, there's really no need for it. Like, even Fishman Island didn't really need it. Like, I would say post time skip, most of the visuals for One Piece are pretty much comparable to like any new anime. Not like Frieren or, you know, Jujutsu Kaisen necessarily, but it's pretty modern, right? It's not in that weird ratio anymore. The visuals are fine. There's good color. It's whatever. Your thoughts of Mappa animating Vinland Saga Season 2 and probably Season 3? I think it looks great. I thought it looked awesome. More of a pacing problem? So, I mean, bro, it's 2026 almost. Just skip the shit that you don't need to watch. Like, skip the intros. And I get it. It's like, oh, I shouldn't have to skip that. Just, you know, abridge it, right? Do One Piece Kai or something. I don't know. I think we just don't need it. We really don't need it. We're all adults. Oscar's like, where did everybody go? How you doing, Oscar? Pleasure to have you. Yeah. The Jujutsu Kaisen Frieren rivalry is gonna be crazy. There's a number of possibilities. Possibility 1, Jujutsu Kaisen dominates. Possibility 2, Frieren dominates. Possibility 3, neither of them really dominate. And it's kind of a tie. Possibility 4 is there's no clear, like, winner, but, like, nobody cares. Or, I guess, regardless of who's winning, there's just no rivalry and everyone kind of sticks to their own show, I guess. I don't know what the odds are, because, I mean, it's Jujutsu Kaisen. It's really going to come down to, like, how much the Frieren fan base feels the need to, like, propagate itself or, like, prop itself up. Because obviously Jujutsu Kaisen fans are going to hype up Jujutsu Kaisen, right? That much is obvious. For better or worse. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's just, it's a weekly Shonen Jump series. It's a battle series. It's got a certain reputation. The fan base has a certain personality. It's just the way it is. I don't know that the Frieren fans, the more vocal ones, will be as contentious. So I don't know. It's going to be very uncertain times for those, for like that first month or so. JJK Frieren, what about my human monk anime? Monkey? I think that's gonna be the kind of series where like it's like quirky and like novel for the first week or two. Nobody's gonna talk about it for like 10 weeks. And then if it's really good, it'll be one of those shows where it's like, hey, you know that show that nobody watched, but you should totally watch it? Darwin Incident. But I don't know. Seen people upset about the JJK early showing because they didn't know most of it was recap of Shibuya. I mean, that's just the state of JJK movies. Like, it's just recap. Or not even JJK movies, like anime movies. It's just shit you haven't seen yet or shit that you've already seen. If you don't like it, don't go. Your predictions of Vinland Saga Season 3, I'm guessing 2028. I don't know. I have no idea. I have a feeling we might get an announcement after the next season of JJK. I know you don't want to OG, but you know damn well they're going to acknowledge that One Piece pacing isn't that great, but we will see at Jump Festa. I mean, I just don't think they care that much. Yeah, exactly. They're very clear about what they're doing with all the recap stuff and movie stuff. And plus in again, I keep saying 2026, but in 2026 almost, if you don't know that that's what's going on with like anime movies and like, you know, pre-release movies and all that shit, it's like, where have you been for the last 3 years? Seriously. Unfortunately, I don't think Fire Force is going to be relevant until like the last couple of months. Fire Force is going to be an interesting one because on top of competing with Jujutsu Kaisen and Frieren, it kind of has to compete with itself. Like as much as I hate to say it, the previous season, whatever you want to call it, was just underwhelming. The animation was not that expressive. It was good, but it was not up to the best that we've seen from Dave Pro. And I don't really know I don't know what's going on with Dave Pro these days. They're like depressing in how just like underwhelming their stuff is lately. Like it's all good. I'll watch it every day, but it's not hitting. It's just not. It's like that fast food place that, you know, you were infatuated with. You had like a honeymoon phase. You go there once a week, once every other week, once a month for like a year, 2 years. Every time you go there, it's like, you know, your first kiss. And then just one day, you're like, man, shit's not hitting the same. Something's different. I don't know what it is. I can't explain it. I don't know what is going on. Something's not right. It's not so bad that I hate it, but it's not that good anymore. I don't know what it is. Do you think that Bleach will really end next year? I think they will adapt the light novels. They're going to do more Bleach content. I mean, they got more Burn the Witch. They got the Hell arc. They got all that stuff. So there's going to be more Bleach. Don't worry about it. Wendy's before they changed the fries and barbecue sauce. Bro, McDonald's before they got rid of the chicken selects. Back in like 04, they had the chicken tenders and they called them chicken selects. Then they took them off, and then like a year or two ago, they brought them back, but somebody told me they're not that good. Man, chicken selects. That shit slapped. They always announce that in the movie theaters. Yeah, no, just pay attention, exactly. So Fire Force is a thing. Golden Kamuy is another one that, at this point, will really only be relevant for Golden Kamuy fans. I would like to do a video on it, if possible. I don't know how likely that is. We'll see. I think that's it. Fire Force, Frieren, JJK, Darwin Incident. Winter 2026. Let's see what I missed. Frieren. Oh, Jigoku Raku. Jigoku Raku is going to be an interesting one because I actually think it's going to get a decent amount of traction, but it's like 50-50 because you have people who watch Jigoku Raku are 100% also watching JJK. the crossover is like 100%, 99%. So that also means that there's a chance that like they watch JJK and then they're like, oh, I'll watch Jigoku Raku later. And then you also have Oshinoko, which could, you know, attract some people away. Oshinoko, I definitely think is going to get traction. But I don't know. I was not part of that manga fandom, so I don't know what the state of the fandom is. You're definitely going to have guys like Chibi hyping it up. But I mean, it seems like after the manga ending, manga fans don't really care about it anymore. We got My Hero Vigilantes, which honestly, I kind of see getting a decent amount of traction just because after that one, that's like another 50-50 where I could see it being like, because My Hero just ended, now people will be looking to fill that void. On the other end, on the other hand, I could also see a situation where people are like, okay, well, I just watched 3 months of My Hero. I'm tapped out for My Hero. I just want to watch Frieren and JJK. So they're like, I'll watch Vigilante later. I could totally see that happening. I don't think it'll be super popular, but You and I Are Polar Opposites is going to be a nice watch for anyone that's looking for like a chill rom-com series. Highly recommend that one. I have not watched it yet, but I know a lot of people like Medalist, right? So that'll be an interesting one. Trigun, I don't think will be terribly relevant. The Darwin Incident will be kind of a niche pick. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the winter season. I do want to see Witch Hat Atelier and Frieren. It's going to be a rough fight. I'm going to be honest. I don't know what's going on with Witch Hat Atelier. It's got potential. The potential is there. But I'm not saying a goddamn thing until I see at least 3 episodes. They chose the perfect moment for ReZero Season 4. Spring 2026 is when Season 1 celebrates its 10th anniversary. The other thing, too, is like, we don't know what's going on with Frieren. We don't know how many episodes Frieren is going to be. There's a chance they might just do 1 core. We don't know yet. JJK, obviously, right? Unless I'm crazy. Probably only going to be 1 core, right? Isn't it usually just 1 core? So yeah. Witch Hat Atelier, I don't think is till the spring, right? Let's look at spring 2026. Steel Ball Run is not for a while, though. And honestly, that's another one. Dave Pro. With the stuff Dave Pro has been putting out, their stuff is just like, eh. Let's see. So for the spring season, we got ReZero. That'll be popular. Witch Hat Atelier is in the spring. Ascendance of a Bookworm is getting a sequel, season 2. Aramakun is finally coming back. Trying to think what else. Yomi no Sugai, which is Demons of the Shadow Realm, I think is going to be very popular. Brand new anime, brand new Bones anime, and brand new Arakawa anime. Plus, the manga is very, very good. So it's got a lot going on for it in a season that honestly is kind of up for grabs, because Witch Hat Atelier is a brand new anime where the manga is very good, but the studio has not proven themselves yet. Bones has been around forever. Arakawa, been around forever. There's a lot more going for Demons of the Shadow Realm. So if we were purely judging by the mangas for those series, I would actually give it to Witchat Atelier. I think Witchat Atelier has more going on story-wise, character-wise, but Demons of the Shadow Realm, more of a battle series. Not purely, but more so. And just bigger, better, writer, more recognizable, already proven, all that good stuff. So spring season is going to be interesting. Honestly, the first half of 2026 is setting up to be non-stop content and tons of rivalries, because again, we have Iramakun. Iramakun is very popular. I don't know about the anime so much, but the manga is very popular, and it's been a hot minute, so I think a lot of people are going to be excited to watch that one. I'm trying to think what else we got. Rooster Fighter. Marriage Toxin will be another good one by Bones. I don't think it's going to be hugely popular, but I think it'll get a nice following. Mao will be an interesting one to see. I think it's going to end up getting overshadowed just because there aren't a ton of manga fans for it, and it kind of occupies a similar space as Demons of the Shadow Realm, because they both deal with like the occult and like Japanese folklore sort of. So I think a lot of fans that would watch Mao are gonna get poached, so to speak, by Demons of the Shadow Realm. Yeah, I didn't realize the spring season is going to be honestly just as contentious as the winter season. We got Red 18017. Hello. What's going on, Red? Black Clover is getting a second season in 2026 after many years. We'll see how this holds up. Is that confirmed yet? I don't think that's been confirmed, unless I'm crazy. Officially coming with major announcements expected at Jump Festa. Okay. So, we'll see. December 21st, right? I think depending on my work schedule, we'll do like a dedicated, if there's enough to talk about, we'll do a dedicated Jump Festa response stream. We won't do like a live one because they don't really live stream their stuff like they do for like Gamescom or whatever, but we'll see. That's dope though. I've been dying for Black Clover. Bug Films showed they had some real animation skills with Zom 100. Yeah, they had production issues, and I'm not 100% convinced that they've like resolved whatever underlying problems caused those issues. I thought it was Crunchyroll didn't release a teaser. They might have. I'm just going off by Google. The return was confirmed in July 2025. More info promised at Jump Festa. Okay, so they probably said something in July. Oh yeah, they released some kind of teaser. That's right. I remember this now. This is making sense now. So I got Black Clover to look forward to, which honestly I'm guessing I would guess fall of 2026. That makes the most sense. Some people don't even know Mao is the same author as Inuyasha. That's the thing, right? And plus Inuyasha, it kind of like milked its whole nostalgia thing dry with Yashahime. I don't really think people care that much about it now. Chapter 1 of Demons of the Shadow Realm was weird. I hope it gets better. I highly recommend it, which look out for upcoming video. But yeah, I'm like all caught up and the manga is insanely good. Let's look at how we doing for time. We still got like another half hour. Yeah, they're not showing anything for the summer yet. Besides or after the spring. Mushoku Tensei, Dungeon Meshi. Bocchi the Rock is supposed to come out, but I don't know like how popular that's going to be. I feel like season 1 was kind of like right place at the right time. Bleach, Apothecary Diaries will be very popular. Black Clover, here we go. We were just talking about that. Shangri-La Frontier, it's not one of those series that like gets talked about a lot, but a ton of people will watch that for sure. Dr. Stone, Tokyo Revengers, I'm guessing the fall season. I don't think anyone cares about that anime anymore. That is tragic. It's pretty much it as far as they have the Ghost in the Shell Science Saru anime, but I could have sworn that was supposed to come out sooner. That'll be a interesting one. I don't think that's going to be super popular, but I think enough people will watch that for sure. Witch Watch as well at some point. I don't know when that's coming out. Yeah. It's still early because like we don't know what the fall season is going to look like. But or the summer season for that matter. But based on this lineup, I honestly feel like it's going to come down to the spring season, because the spring season, there'll be shows wrapping up from the winter. So we'll see like how many people go back to watch the shows that they didn't watch and like now they're binging them. And then we'll see how popular all the spring stuff is and how they compare to the winter stuff. Based on what we're seeing so far, it's still pretty early, but I don't think, besides whenever they decide to release like maybe Dawn to Dawn and Bleach, I don't know what's going to be like hugely talked about in the second half of 2026. I've not had a chance to watch ReZero, yeah, excuse me, but I know it's supposed to be really, really good. I just got to make the time to watch it. I'm kind of on a manga binge right now. I'll watch my anime soon, right? But I'm really on my manga kick right now. The winter season is stacked and the spring season is also surprisingly stacked, at least on paper. Not ironically, I have a feeling Mao would have more viewers if anime wasn't mainstream. Then it would mostly be people interested in the history of the industry and know about Rumiko Takahashi. I feel like, so, would have more viewers. That brings up an interesting point about like the nature of the anime fandom. As much as people like to talk about animation, the majority of anime fans don't give a shit about like animation. When they say animation, they just care about visuals and aesthetics. They don't care about like the people drawing the shows, the techniques, the industry, the careers, right? The principles of animation, the technology. They don't give a shit. So like, when it comes to, you know, oh, Rumiko Takahashi, she was a trendsetter, she cleared space for blah, blah, blah. The majority of people don't care. And I don't say that to be like a hater. I don't say that to be like, you know, whatever. Half the reason people love Akira Toriyama so much is because he made Dragon Ball. Not just because, like, he's a popular mangaka and he did well for himself. They just love him because he made Dragon Ball. Right? If it were the case that people actually cared about like the industry, more people would care about like Astro Boy and, you know, all those old classics like that. And you know, stuff like Ashita no Joe, all that stuff. Made in Abyss is getting a movie sequel. I don't know how popular that'll be. I feel like it's been a hot minute since the first movie. I recommend Wisteria Wand and Sword. Okay, I'll have to check that out. Thank you. I hope you enjoy ReZero. Any great manga recommendations you've read recently? Hold that thought. Pay attention to upcoming video. But Ichi the Witch. Read Ichi the Witch. It's amazing. Okay, second recommendation, Wisteria from Eden's. I'll have to seriously check it out. Is that anime, manga, or both? Most people who talk about animation quality are tourists. It's not even so much that they're tourists, but it's more like they don't actually care about the behind the scenes stuff, like the industry, the artistry of it, like the techniques. They just care about like the binary, like does it look good or does it not look good? They don't care about like the palettes, the color, the scenery, the, you know, the sound design, the character expression, they just care about like, does it look good or does it not look good? Which is fine. You don't have to be like an animation nut to appreciate animation. But when you bring up a point about like, you know, such and such person would be more popular if people were like animation nuts or, you know, art nuts, my response is the majority of people are just casual fans who just want to watch shows, which again is fine. I'm not saying that's a good or bad thing. I'm just saying the majority of people don't care about like the technical stuff. It's the same thing with video games. Most people who play video games do not care about, you know, coding. They don't care about Unreal Engine 3 or Unreal Engine 4 or whatever. They don't care about shaders or lighting. They just want to play the fucking game. Excuse my mouth. Ichi was really fun. Okay, good. Glad to see you're enjoying it. In my case, I haven't watched much of older anime, but I do appreciate them for what they did for the industry, which is fine. And the other thing is like, you don't have to be an anime fan and be like, well, you know, you're only an anime fan You're only an anime fan if you watch older stuff. It's like, no, not true. Same thing with video games or movies. Even, I'll give you a good, perfect example. Comic books. The absolute run of DC Comics, we'll just stick to it for DC Comics, right? The absolute run for, you know, the Justice League comics, right? Insanely popular right now. Could be considered to be like a revitalization of at least DC Comics, right? So you're going to get a bunch of new fans, potentially. I don't know what the numbers look like yet, of people reading comic books that haven't read anything else but the absolute stuff. They like Batman. They like Superman. They've never read the comics. They see that these are doing well and they're like, all right, I'll start there. If you like those comics, then you're a comic book fan, right? If you say, well, you haven't seen The Killing Joke, you haven't seen Long Halloween, you haven't read, you know, XYZ Batman comic, same thing for Superman, right? That's just not true. There's levels to being a fan, but the barrier to entry to like being a fan is very small. But there are still echelons, there are still levels, tiers, thresholds, whatever you want to call it. They're not tourists, they just don't care about the history. From my perspective, tourists are often like that, so in my mind, they're the same type of people most often. So again, there's levels, right? There's the people who watch 2 shows and they just watch anime because it's popular, and in like a year or 2 they won't give a shit, right? A good example of that is like people who watch Invincible and then they say they like comic books or superheroes, but then when Invincible's not running, they don't give a shit about comic books, right? That's a good example. So that's like textbook tourist. Then you have people who I would not consider tourists and who are like genuinely casual anime fans. The way I would define like a purely casual anime fan is someone who watches anime consistently, only watches like maybe 2 or 3 shows, but watches enough to say that they actually watch anime and not just like the same show. But they're not online talking about it, or they're not online talking about anime. And if they do, they really only care about their like 2 or 3 shows. That to me is like a casual anime fan. Someone who's only watching like a handful of shows. They don't care about the community. They don't care about the industry. They just know they like anime and they just want to watch it. They don't necessarily have to talk about it with everyone else. And if they do, they're not that involved. So like if it's people who like Jujutsu Kaisen, Dragon Ball, you know, One Piece, right? Like if you watch those 3 shows and then you watch like the occasional seasonal show and you don't really talk to people about anime, but you know you like anime, that doesn't necessarily make you a tourist. A tourist is genuinely someone who is here, they're watching a show because it's popular, and then as soon as it's not popular or relevant, they move on to bigger, better things. They talk about anime for like 3 months, you know, they have like their hill that they're gonna die on, and then as soon as The Boys is relevant, or as soon as, you know, Invincible is relevant, that's like their new identity, right? That's what I consider a tourist. Not every anime fan will be interested in the history of the industry, but every tourist will not be. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. But not every tourist will be interested in the history of the industry. That's true for any hobby or interest for that matter. But okay, I'm straying a bit from the original topic. Now I'm wondering how not being mainstream would affect the popularity of certain anime. I mean, that's like a case-by-case basis, but for sure. But yeah, it's really, I really do think it's going to come down to the spring and winter seasons. JJK and Frieren are also basically in the same boat, because you might assume JJK might have the disadvantage that the manga is over, so like manga fans don't care. But clearly that's not the case, right? Like clearly manga fans still care. I mean, we could ostensibly they care. We'll find out how much they actually care. But on the other hand, you have Frieren, which I think is currently on hiatus, right? If I'm not crazy. So, I mean, the manga fan base is really not that much more active than the JJK fan base. So that kind of cancels itself out. Frieren is my most anticipated anime of next year. Well, let's look and see what the sites are showing. So if we go to winter, Mal is saying Frieren has more people. Frieren has 235 members. JJK has 169,000. So let's go to live charts. If we go to live charts, winter, exact same order. Frieren, then Jigokuraku, then JJK. I genuinely think if you had to put a gun to my head and you said, OG, every cent in your bank account, make your bet, pick one. In the moment right now, in this very second, I think this is also not considering Frieren episode length, because I think if Frieren is 24 episodes, that's going to give it the advantage. But I think genuinely what it's going to come down to is how action-oriented Frieren is. Because JJK is going to have culling games, and that's going to be Shibuya all over again. People are going to lose their minds over the fights. The problem with Frieren is now that it's not the exam arc anymore, there's really not going to be a lot of fights unless they adapt the El Dorado, Golden City, whatever you want to call it, arc with that new villain mocked. If they adapt that stuff, I think it's gonna be Frieren anime of the year. If it doesn't, and it doesn't have a lot of action, I think JJK is just barely gonna come out as anime of the year. Mushoku season 3, most anticipated, not till spring. Last episode of Gachi Akuto was great. Battle Shonen, where I think something's gonna happen. Yeah, Gachi Akuto has great pacing like that. I'm also not factoring in solo leveling because they haven't announced that, right? Solo leveling, I threw it in the thumbnail just because it's gonna come up during the Crunchyroll Awards. But that's one where if it comes out winter 2026, it will fall 2026, it'll dominate that season. Undoubtedly. Solo is 2027. Is that like a definite confirmed? Or is that just like heavily implied? But that being said, if that were to come out in the fall, that would change this whole equation. Are you talking about Gachi Akata? If you're talking about Gachi Akata, I'm pretty sure second season already got confirmed. Frieren was never about fighting. It became mainstream. It didn't make sense for it to become popular, but it did, so I can't. It became popular because great animation, interesting characters, unique premise. It's a fantasy, which anime fans love. Good fights towards the end, and also the thing with Aura and the demons was like needlessly controversial, so it kind of forced itself into the mainstream by getting everyone to talk about that whole demon morality nonsense. Okay, fair enough. Probably no solo leveling. Yeah, so that's really all I have to say about this anime season. It's gonna come down, not considering whatever comes out in the fall, it's really gonna come down to, I really think, let's go back to Mal. Let's see if I change my mind. So if we look at the spring, I don't think ReZero is gonna be as popular. Witch Hat Atelier is gonna be the black horse, where it has the potential to dominate as like a hot new thing, but only if the animation is there, because it doesn't really have any fights. It's got great characters, great story, but it's not that action heavy. So if the animation isn't there to follow through, it's gonna be tough. Oh, there's Wistoria. Okay, so I'll probably watch that first season before then. Wistoria, where's the first season? First season is 12 episodes. All right, I'll have to peep that. Cool. I think so. Frieren will probably dominate. Hopefully, that's what one would like to hope, right? But yeah, that's gonna be it for today's stream. How are we doing on time? We're at 53 minutes. Yeah, I'm gonna end a little early today, only because I'm expecting company and I have to prepare for that. Is Dungeon Meshi 2026? It's listed as like potentially 2026, but it won't come out until like later next year. On that note, thanks everybody. We had a great discussion as always. Look out for videos this weekend. There will be at least one video this weekend. Look out for an announcement for streams, because again, if you haven't already, look at my December update post, but streaming schedule is going to be a little inconsistent now that I have a new job. I'm going to try for 2 streams a week, one in the beginning, one in the end. We'll see how that works. But yeah, look out for stream announcement. I'll do like a post and we'll go from there. Assuming there's no issues, there'll be a stream Monday and then we'll go from there. But anyway, thanks everybody, and I will see you soon. Peace.